went out to get the paper, and I was pleasantly surprised. It was the mail I was going for, but it was just like I went out to get the paper because that's all that was there. I said, look at that. I said, one of these burnable rags they send us. I read the stuff. I do. Most people just burn it, or they attempt to recycle it. How much more can you recycle this thing? I don't know. Maybe it's good for something. But I pulled the paper out of the box. I said, look at that. The newspaper came. And I look here and I see high school students. Oh, look, you don't believe me, do you? Oh, we are moving. Paramount Signs and Graphics opening April 18th. That's like 4 days from now. That's Dwayne Smolars' birthday. Opening April 18th, 384. They got a new location, new name, and the same great people. What happened to the last fucking location they were in if the people are so great? They say, you people get the fuck out of here. And they say, it's time to go. And say open. And the new, it's like being a nurse. You look at what, Annie Wilkes and what do you call that Stephen King novel, Misery. She was just somebody that had an awful past. But they can't ask why you left your last job. They can ask that. You can make anything up you want, as it turns out. They couldn't ask why she got fired and fled from so many jobs. That's not legal. But yeah. So I took it out of the box and I looked at high school students fighting for justice. And I said, wow. Immediately, it made me so happy. What a line of bullshit that is. That's what I thought. And it just made me laugh. I was like, yeah, you're not even old enough to vote. You're not even old enough to vote. You're old enough to go to juvie. And maybe if you do something really, really awful, you can go to the big house. You can go straight to prison. You're not old enough to vote. You're old enough to talk. That's one thing. And you have a right to. But remember, your parents will be held accountable as a high school student if you start a fucking riot. You're not even old enough to drink. Interesting thing. 17 years old I was. Jumping out of airplanes. A trained killing machine. Look at me. I'm like Bruce Willis in that last Boy Scout movie. What? Oh, right in the nuts. Every time. That's my signature move. I'm kidding about that. I very respectful of the nuts. The nuts are only a last-ditch effort. You don't piss somebody off with their nuts. If you don't think you got a chance at winning that fight without having to kill the fucker, don't go for the nuts, because when he takes you over, he's going to be stomping on your nuts just to make you remember you don't kick people in the nuts. So what's that? Not old enough to drink. The thing is, I was in the Army at 17. I wasn't even old enough to vote, which, the way I remember it in the military, we weren't supposed to vote, but I guess they can do what they want now. They wear tennis shoes and basic and everything. We did too for running. Not all day long. You gotta wear the boots. Not old enough to drink. There's Siete. You're not old enough to do anything in high school. You're allowed to talk. And it seems like a bunch of meaningless bullshit. A bunch of kids saying high school students fighting for justice. You know, the biggest bullshit line of it all is they're not registered voters, so no congressman's going to listen to them. But the truth is, they're talking. And what are they doing? They're talking, and the class that was ahead of them, the graduating class when they were freshmen that they idolized, they look at them and they say, wow, I want to be that one day. And they come up just with them, you know, in the same rank and file, and they end up in Senate. These are the people that end up in Senate because everybody around them, they believe they're bullshit. They're like, yeah, make him class president. He's the only one that fucking cares. That's the thing. He's the only one that fucking cared about being class president, not caring about the people, just cared about being class president. And so they come up through the ranks like that with the people from before them. And when the oldest people are sitting there going, the next ones down the line, they can act as a buffer. They can support those people that were just ahead of them down the line to the young people, like these kids. They can instill their ideas from these older, wise people down to these, because these high school students fighting for justice, they might not see this next guy in line, the one that looked up to that guy, as being somebody that was, you know, a fuddy-duddy. They can look at that guy all day long. I saw something about Mitch McConnell today, and back like 20 years ago, he was a good-looking man. He's a fucking mess now. Is that what 20 years will do to you? Oh, shit. Huh. No young person's going to listen to that fuddy-duddy. It takes the next guy in line to translate the message. And the next guy in line, if he were any younger, he would look at that guy as a fuddy-duddy. But he was the next in line. And he just thinks, oh, we're the same age. He doesn't realize he's the next in line to be a fuddy-duddy. That's what these kids are doing. That's why we still have so many old problems. Is because high school students fighting for justice.